Hey, what's up, everyone? Coming back at you with another iRacing Rallycross track guide. This time we're at the Iowa Speedway. This is one of the probably least liked and most challenging circuits we have in the service currently. And I spent a long time being slow here. And I still don't feel like the fastest person, obviously. Um, but I feel pretty comfortable racing with just about anybody nowadays. But let me just kind of walk you through how I drive the course and the things that I'm kind of thinking about, and see if I can maybe help you break into some of those faster times. So let's take a look. Okay, so just for reference, we are using the baseline setup. This is not just the baseline iRacing setup. This is the one that my friend Kevin Carlisle, a pro rallycross driver, built and gave to iRacing to distribute. So it's a decent starting point. I would say compared to most tracks, the setup plays more of a role here than normal. So you can get fast here, but I would definitely recommend experimenting or trying some other sets. Joni Heikkinen, who was the runner-up in the 2018 World Championship, actually shared his stuff in the forums. So check out the iRacing forums and look for those Beetle sets. So I'm once again in the free GRC Beetle. And I'm just in a test session here. I've ran 21 laps here. Just get a little wear into the track so you can kind of visually see my line in the dirt. But yeah, let's get started. So the pit is also right here, the starting grid. So this can get pretty hairy, but I would say it's I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for this, but I would say it's probably the more safer turn ones. But I feel like there's just a lot of room. The big problem is actually the jump that's just right around the corner here. So once you get going, be heading down towards here. I'm usually braking maybe right around here, going full speed. Coming around here, being really careful. You see there's a lot of space, but the problem is if everyone makes it around here, it tightens up going into the jump. So this is what you got to watch out for. Making sure you have enough room to fit who's ever coming through here. 2 cars make it usually all right. 3 is very questionable, so watch out for that on your starts. So anyway, take you on a really slow outlap here and just kind of talk through where I'm at. I'm usually coming down here in 4th, maybe 5th, kind of just depending on how it feels. You kind of see this little sidewalk or whatever it is, and you kind of see I'm swinging out wide. I'm braking right about here, and I'm actually kind of, when I'm coming off that jump to complete a lap, I'm not like coming off that thing full throttle. I'm usually kind of taking it easy because it's really easy to blow turn 1 with too much speed, especially on fresh dirt. So I'm usually using this kind of line and braking before the sidewalk line. Just swinging out, braking here, and I'm usually dropping down to 4th and maybe 3rd. But what you're trying to do is, you see the tire stacks here, the tire bollards. There's 3 of them right here. You want to aim to apex with the middle one right here. You can kind of see where I've worn in the track. And you want to swing out. So this thing is really a double apex here. Swing out a little bit. You want to keep it pretty tight. But then you'll also see 3 more tire stacks. And you're aiming for the one in the middle, apexing again. And you'll see I'm kind of coming out wide. I'm usually up to 4th. You want to be really easy here. I'm usually braking right about here. Oh, by the way, that whole dirt section, I'm always trail braking. When I run a regular lap, you'll kind of watch the numbers here. You'll see I'm pretty much on the brake most of the time throughout the track, so just keep that in mind. So I'm usually coming in here. If I don't quite have the angle, I might pop it down to 3rd just to help the car rotate a little bit. Apexing with that middle tire stack. And then I'm trying to keep a straight line going right here. Kind of apex right here, come up to 4th, 5th. And then I'm usually coming up and trying to line up with this little patch right here. You can swing out a little wider, you can take it a little shorter, but if you swing out a little wider, you can kind of late apex this and maybe come out with it a little bit more speed. I'm usually down in the 2nd and apexing with the last tire stack on this turn. Trail braking the whole way, and this is usually the first time I'm really letting off the brake, but just for a minute. I try to brake maybe a car length and a half before this tire stack right here. So usually fourth, and you're braking right here. Coming down, you might be able to manage coming down into second, but you'll kind of see we've got this really dicey hairpin, and you kind of want to lay apex this thing. It's really difficult if you're not getting the angle. Pop down into first, but as soon as you're coming down here and slowing way down, you want to be back up into third, because especially in the Beetle and the Fiesta, you can grip roll really easy in the hairpin, so keep that in mind. And up to fourth with the baseline set. Kevo really didn't give it much of a sixth gear, so you can leave it in fifth. Hug this inside wall here, and I'm looking for, you see the yellow line, and then you see the Iowa 4 and the tire marks. I'm braking just before this yellow line, and I'm aiming kind of right, looking between this, but by the time you come up on the banking, kind of finding these tire marks right here on the right, and you'll see the rubber on the track, and you're braking down. I'm coming down to second, apexing right with the inside of this wall of tires here. And then this is the tricky part, so you want to try to keep a straight line here and not lose any grip. But you want to find this line right here, and you want to get the car straight, usually up third, fourth, coming over here. You can see I'm kind of going out wide when I hit back in here, but yeah, that's a lap. So real quick, I'm going to show you the Joker. This has a really shortcut Joker, and you're coming off a T1, and you're going straight at it right here. So if you're coming up to fourth, you might be in fifth. I usually brake right about where this first little set of tires, row of tires, sticks out. Brake in there, and I'm kind of trail braking because I don't want to come up here and hit this wall. So you're apexing with the curve of that, and just maybe trail brake and make sure you don't get too loose. It's really easy to spin out right there, and you don't want to smack the wall. And then you got to watch the inside. It's actually probably the easiest Joker exit, in my opinion, because you got all of this track and no one's really coming up wide here. So you'll be able to kind of come out with a lot more speed than they're coming out of the hairpin in. So if someone's a little bit ahead of you on this inside wall, you usually can tuck underneath them or get right behind them and prepare to make moves at the hairpin. So let's speed it up. Trail braking, third, fourth. Trail braking, fifth. Still braking. Then I'm letting off the throttle braking here. Usually down to second. It's hard on the brakes right here. And then I kind of overdid it there. See me sliding way out. That's what you want to avoid. So I'm on the brakes like this whole time here in the higher gears. Way too wide, and we're rolling it. How embarrassing. But this track is so tricky, especially the jump into T1 right there. Every little thing you do matters for speed on this track. Like, it's probably one of the least forgiving tracks as far as finding speed. Really easy to overdrive. So you gotta be really attentive when you're driving this track. It's not a lazy track. It's really short, it's really tight, it's really technical. Keep on those brakes, stay in the higher gears to keep this thing straight and not whipping around, not burning the tires up. It took me forever to figure out how to take that hairpin fast. So like I always say, practice, lots of laps. Get this stuff committed to muscle memory. Gets a little better, but you really got to work on your lines and your Scandinavian flick there. Your trail braking. Using the gearing and the weight of the car to turn. See when I popped it down on the first, how much more turning I got there. Too much braking that time. So I would say super competitive times are low 37s, upper 36s on a fresh track. You'll see really fast people automatically in the mid to low 36s, and then as this track wears out, 35s are no problem. Maybe even some 34s from the ultra fast guys on a worn track. But if you're rocking somewhere in the 37s just starting out and not driving with a lot of the like Division 1 or like pro speed drivers, you should do pretty well here, I think. So let's go through passing opportunities. So it's a racier track compared to some. Maybe not quite like Lucas, but T1 is definitely, you can cut inside someone and shove them out of the dirt and pass here. I've done that plenty. It's really hard to pass in the infield, but it's possible. You can get on the outside of somebody, you can kind of take away the inside going into this turn. Kind of rare, but another thing you can do is if you can get drag racer with somebody, get on the inside of them here, beat them into the turn. Or the opposite, which is you have the inside and you kind of undercut somebody up and over. And then of course you can outbrake people here, slide underneath them, kind of slide job style, take their line. If you watched last year's, was it the first Iowa race? I think it was the first Iowa race of the World Championship. My friend Julian Shine has an incredible pass right there at that hairpin. He kind of used the banking of the track to increase his braking power and just slides up, slide jobs somebody, and then they have a nice little exchange afterwards. And it's a really fun / scary way to pass. So essentially what can happen is if you're coming up underneath someone, they're on the outside of you, take their line, you're swinging out wider and they can come right back in here. And then you're trying to drag race into here. And what happened to Julian, I forget who was racing with him, but they kind of collided right here. Got all loosey-goosey and probably wrecked. But you can successfully pass people doing that kind of stuff. And don't, if you get past that way, just try to swing right back by underneath them if you can. So yeah, I wish this were a more popular track. I feel like if people like me and some others out in the community unlock some of this track's secrets, people will find more speed and they'll sign up for more races. So that's my hope. I don't know if I have much else to say. This can be one of the most frustrating tracks to find speed on, and when you're racing too. Like, I've been fine in heats and things like that, and then near the ends of feature races, this is one of the few tracks where I really start to feel like I've overdriven the car and kind of shredded the tires. So just be real mindful of that. and just use that trail braking. That'll help keep that car stable. Use your gearing here. Don't be afraid to shift a lot, especially to get in and out of corners. Keep the car stable so you don't get loose coming around the bends. And yeah, if you have any questions or comments, feedback, throw me a comment. Hope to see people on the track and finding some speed. So thanks once again for checking out the video. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. Always putting out tutorials and other racing content. So yeah, happy driving.